Hey everyone, welcome back to another 31-minute podcast. Well, here I am with the 31-minute team actually. So Luke, Sean, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
This is the second podcast so far. So the first one was riveting with me and Broccoli. And then, so first of all, people might be listening to this, have no idea who you are. So Teams Challenge Australia, we'll talk about it for a couple of minutes, but how did you actually get into doing what you do? Like, I know you, I know all your background, all that sort of stuff, but you're extreme type of fellows, so super fit. So and brothers. So how did you actually get into this?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. So I guess we've grown up into sport, very tight family, very much outdoor orientated people and health conscious. And then we basically went through and did a lot of sport growing up, and then got into our PE teaching, and I've worked for the New South Wales Department of Education with juvenile justice, with 16 to 21-year-old young men that are confined for all sorts of different crimes. And a lot of the programs we run with them are about taking them out of their comfort zone, pushing into fears that they have, and a lot of that is physical and mental type things. And then we've also got the Business Teams Challenge Australia, which does exactly that. It looks at taking people as a team into nature, pushing their comfort zones, giving them skills to work together to get through challenging situations. We find a lot these days. There's so many creature comforts of an air conditioner, of an easy way to do everything, and it's really nice to strip all of that back and take people into nature and into whether it's in the water or the mountains or the river or the cliff, and put them in situations that are like fight or flight, see how they react, and then obviously see how they then come together as a team, and that very much happens. And then linking to that, we've got very much involved in a number of different community events that we can chat about too, to obviously inspire and get as many people involved in as many positive things as they can.
So being brothers, like, did you start the business, one of you, and then the other one joined, or did you both start together, or is that what happened?
Yeah, well, for a fair while we threw around different ideas, and I mean, we've always been active and, like Luke said, trying to push ourselves as much as we can. Yeah. And then the things we were doing was like other people were wanting to sort of jump on board and want to follow on and get involved, and then we thought, why not make it into something? I mean, it is Luke's business, but we're behind the scenes. I work very closely with him in terms of ideas and creating different programs and different events that we do run and the delivery of them. So
you have a good synergy together. Like, obviously I've seen you work out many times together, so you have like this awesome synergy thing. Do you ever fight?
We used to fight.
Still got a few scars, actually. We used to fight a lot more when I knew I could win. So we fight a lot less now. But no, we do actually have like an unspoken kind of flow when we work together and interact. And quite often we'll rock up somewhere with the exact same clothes on accidentally, or today that wasn't accidental. But all those sorts of things can happen. But we're very fortunate to be able to work with your best mate, your brother, and do things you love doing, and we get a huge amount of satisfaction out of the work we do in both our roles, with the government job and then with the business, and all the different people that we've been fortunate enough to work with. We've been fortunate enough to work with such an array of different people, and it's really nice to be able to do that, obviously, with your brother and your best mate.
Yeah. So breathing, is that how it started? Because you guys are known for, for high performance breathing, extreme pushing your body, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I guess that obviously linking to all of those different things, and then sport and looking at ways you can perform better, and surfing and free diving and all of these things moulded in for us, and we got quite into trying to push ourselves deeper in the ocean, into bigger waves, and then linking to sport. And with a lot of teams we work with, we've combined our breath, mind, body conditioning program into a program that people can use on a daily basis and they can relate to, and it doesn't matter whether they're a mum with 3 kids, there's huge stresses that comes with that, or whether they're a high executive, or whether they're a elite athlete, or in the tactical operations police. We've been fortunate to work with a huge array of people, and your breath is a vital part of you performing to your peak in any of those areas.
Give us an example. Do you have an exercise for broccoli or no?
No, we don't. We're not that good. No, there's obviously a number of different breathing techniques that people can look at doing, but very simply, the world is a very fast-paced place, and a really simple thing to do is to literally take 3 to 5 slow breaths in and out your nose, and that does a huge amount of things. And people can sometimes think, is that 90 seconds wasted or 2 minutes wasted? It's really not. It totally changes. It can totally change your mindset, your blood pressure, your stress levels, which then will affect how you perform, or how you make that next phone call, or how you interact with that next person. So oxygen is what we thrive off, and we, as our life force, yet very, very few people give it much thought or energy or training.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I do a lot of research on YouTube about lots of different things, and there's quite a bit on there about they say that cancer is suffocated blood. That's where it comes from, like not enough oxygen in your blood. And like, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, so people don't write and say, hey, you're not a doctor, but it's there was a lady in 1972 that had 100% hit rate for the cure of every cancer that she treated, and she used all home things, but she got the blood oxygenated, and people's cancer would turn around. Someone killed her, but it was like, so I don't know, what's your thoughts on oxygenated blood? And because really that's sort of what you're talking about.
Well, injury and illness thrive off stagnant blood and a body that isn't moving and isn't being oxygenated. So when you do the reverse of that, we're not saying we have the cure for cancer, but it's going to be of benefit for people if they're able to get a lot of fresh blood and oxygen flowing around their body and expel a lot of our waste product, which is your CO2.
Yeah.
So there is a huge amount of studies and research done with a number of very, very high up people in the breathing world that we've done a lot of training with, that have hundreds of thousands of people that have cured an amazing amount of diseases and illnesses through a number of things, but one of them being, a big part of it being breathing techniques and exposure to cold water. So they're 2 things that...
Yeah, your famous ice baths. Well, talk us through one. Can you share one with us? Like
an ice bath? Or?
No. No, like an exercise, a technique that's going to get the oxygen. So let's say you had a busy day, you're pumping along, kids are screaming.
Energy breathing?
Yep. Kids are screaming, you're just pulling your hair out, you feel, that feeling when you're like, you're only just keeping up. You know that feeling? Yeah. What's a good thing to do there?
Yeah, good one there. Obviously, if you can aim to slow your heart rate down. A lot of different trainers and people have different names for it. We call it our blue breath technique, which we teach to a lot of different athletes and people in the corporate world when they get to that stage as well. And it's basically using a visualization and getting them to physically, with their hands, basically picture their lungs as if it's a triangle, and basically using their hands to visualize when like a blue liquid or gas is getting poured into there, and as they inhale, so we can use different times. So we might say you might inhale for 4 to 5 seconds.
Should we do it?
We'll do it now.
Let's do it. All right. Broccoli, you too, mate. Keep your eye on the camera at the same time.
Ready? So we'll start at the bottom, sit up nice and tall and comfortable. We're gonna inhale through our nose, nice and gently. You can close your eyes or keep your eyes open. Some people freak out when they close their eyes, but and then just slowly inhale. As you inhale, just bringing your hands up as if your lungs are filling up with really nice oxygen, and exhaling slowly. and it's amazing. We only did it for a few.
Feel calmer already.
Yeah, but it's amazing how quickly you can change the state of your mind.
Yeah.
So a lot of people rely on external things like whatever it is, medication, drugs, whatever, whereas everybody has the access and it's free if they learn the correct techniques to tap into that. So that's why it's real powerful.
My first breath was a lot shallower than my last breath. Yeah.
I think a major part about understanding breathing too is for people, they can learn the different techniques. Go, oh yeah, that felt really good when I was doing it in the comfort of an office. But it's being able to pinpoint when they need to use it. And if you've got a trigger that you know every time you've got to make a phone call to a tough client, you know you're going to get stressed and anxious. All of that, stress and anxious, all those lower level stresses and anxieties build, and creates illness and a person that doesn't perform as well. So if you know every day, this is a time when I feel like this, you've got to be proactive in spending 90 seconds doing some slow controlled breathing to get yourself into a nice state for that. And it might be post-event that you need to do something as well.
It's a good point because especially like in our industry, you might have to call somebody, like you just said, high anxiety around it. You know, like it might be a really unpleasant call. So the anxiety you build up almost not wanting to do it, but you know you've got to do it. Yeah, you can center yourself. There's one other breathing technique I just want to touch on. What's the other one?
Energy breathing.
Yeah, so tell me about this one.
So this one we've been trained off a guy named Wim Hof, and he's an absolute master in breath. And the idea of this technique is we call it energy breathing technique, because if you simplify it for people and in their day-to-day when things are hectic, hang on, what do I need? Do I need some calming blue breaths or do I need some powerful energy? Then they'll hit into some into some energy breathing, which is.
So why would you use the energy?
Energy breathing to oxygenate your system, to get a lot of fresh oxygen running around your body, to expel a lot of CO2, to also calm your mind. You'll notice after doing the 1 minute of quite vigorous breathing, when you exhale out and hold on an empty lung, you'll actually hold in a really nice calm state, which can take 30 to 40 minutes in a meditation class to get yourself into a really centered space, whereas this can be really short, sharp, and very much 2020 meditation.
So would you use it like if you're going to hype up for a meeting, or just the start of the day, or like?
Well, we use it as a primer for the day to set yourself for the day. We'll use it at any stage between when energy levels may feel like they're dropping and you want to be up for something. We've got a lot of teams that will use it prior to training or prior to a competition. Big Eddie Williams, Australia's strongest man, when we did some breath work with him, he said that he's sponsored by every pre-trainer there is, and he said that this is the best pre-trainer he's ever used, and it's only the use of his breath. He's not scooping. He still has his pre-trainer, but he does his energy breathing as well.
Right.
So it's quite a powerful tool to be able to have for people to be able to get themselves up for something. And everyone has those lulls and flows, and this is a nice quick way to.
Definitely, I do. So let's can we do 30 seconds of it?
30 seconds, very simple. In and out your mouth. Big breath in, small puff out. Big breath in, small puff out. And at the end, we'll just empty out and exhale. Okay. So we'll do 15 to 20 breaths. Sit up nice and straight. Yeah. We're going in and out the biggest tube, which is your mouth. Ready? So it's like 100% in, small puff out. 100% in, small puff out. You might feel a little bit lightheaded, a little bit dizzy. You can back it off. Okay, 2 more. Inhale. Slowly exhale, exhale. And hold your breath on it.
Broccoli's red so much.
And after you empty out and hold, you can be in a really relaxed space. You feel awake, that's right, you feel awake.
Okay, that's awesome. So just quickly before we end this, because it's only going for 31 minutes, but so general society, you guys training, like when I see you guys train, you're actually in there doing it. Like I've trained with you guys many times, in the water, out of the water, and I'd have to say you guys are pushing yourself harder than anyone that's training with you. Like not a lot of trainers do. A lot of trainers usually just say, go do that, count this, count that. So obviously you push yourself pretty hard internally, and you've got this drive going on. Because even other times when I've worked out with you, I got to the gym and you're climbing all over the machines like a monkey, and you've been there for an hour, but you train all day as well. Like if you're not working, you train all day. So stamina really interests me. And also, because a lot of people get to the day and they're like, oh, I've had a hard day at work, I'll just watch telly and I'll eat Doritos. Because they feel like... But Tony Robbins said something really interesting once. He said, you might think you're tired, but if you got a phone call and someone said you won $1 million, I bet you're not tired anymore. So where does that drive come from for you guys? And how do people actually learn a bit about this? Because I reckon that's the secret for high performance. It's that internal, you guys could easily say, hey, I've done 4 training sessions. Well, don't you guys train usually before our training sessions anyway? So you guys are up at 5 in the morning training, come and do training sessions. Like, how do people actually start to do something like that themselves and change their life? Because I reckon that's how you change your life.
I think the way people start doing is that they need to want to do it. People need to want to do something. You cannot change whether someone really wants to do something or really doesn't want to do it.
So let's stop there for a second. Weight. Weight's a great indicator. I love talking about weight because if someone's overweight, it's usually self-inflicted and it's the result of choices that they've made. We all have things we're working on at different times. Now, even me, I'm a bit jiggly down here at the moment, so I'm like, probably can trace it back to the Milo things that I've been eating and blah, 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 blah. But when you say you want to do it, so let's say someone's just in that part of life where they're like, and I've seen you guys transform people. So how do they start? Because it's a bit daunting sometimes. It's like the habits.
I think they just need to start, and that's the thing. It's if you hear someone say, I'm going to start this new diet or this new training next Monday, generally they won't. Right. The person that really wants to start something, if they're talking about it and really wanting to start it, they start it right then and there. They start it straight away. So really getting into it really early, getting around people that are very supportive and have some skills to offer you. And there's a huge amount of people in this Central Coast. We've got an amazing amount of people to be around in a positive community as far as their fitness. Diet is a huge one for people. We've seen so many amazing results with different people just by tweaking the diet and not having if you're just talking weight loss there, not having a major, it's scary for some people to walk into a gym or to go down to the Haven and train. There's a lot of fit people training and different things. So for someone that's really big and wants to lose a lot of weight, they don't need to even worry about that. They just need to really sort their diet out. If I were to give one tip on that, it's just take sugar out of your diet.
Sugar. So you said before they got to want to do it. So, and like I said, it's daunting for people. But like, what advice would you have for somebody that's listening to this right now, that's 130 kilos, and they just feel like it's all too much? Yeah. Like they just feel like it's this huge big hill they got to climb.
First thing, like obviously if they've identified that they need help, surround themselves, like Luke said, by good people and people that are going to want to help them. Some people are in it for the wrong reasons. Like you said before, every training session that we are a part of, we want to be right involved a part of it. Whether we're training one person or 100 people, we're right in there amongst it because we want to be there sort of with them compared to...
do you guys want to get better all the time? Is that why you drive yourself so hard? Or is it you leading by example? Or
it's a bit of both, but one of the biggest things for us and the environment we love putting ourselves in is being the worst person in that room at whatever we're doing. So whatever that might be, if we got mates that are really good kickboxers and we're obviously not that good, so going up against them and training and learning from the best in all different areas, whether it is fitness or whatever industry you're working in, learning from the best and trying to, even if you get one or two small things from them to improve your life or your training or your diet or whatever it is. Like,
do you reckon there's more exhilaration? I love that, being the worst in the room, because it's like, that's daunting for people. Did you say to me you went back to white belt or you went to white belt?
Oh, so jiu-jitsu, yeah. My son does jiu-jitsu. So.
On that, do you think there's more, I want to talk about that, but do you think there's more juice, energy, flow, juice excitement in being the worst in the room?
100%. And for those people that find that it's sort of a mindset thing, for those that find like that they might be at the end of their tether where they haven't done much, whether it is exercise or they've eaten bad for a few years or whatever it might be, and they're at the end of their tether with they want to make a change, then they got the most scope to go.
So really, it's the best place to be.
It'd be awesome. I'd love to. I always think sometimes, like, I would love to, not that I'm at the top by all means, but I'd love to go back and go, righto, I want to see if I can get out of this situation I'm in, being that person or somebody else in whatever situation they're in. So
That's a good point. And you've gone to white belt because you've joined.
Yeah, well, so my son does jiu-jitsu now. Shawnee's done a fair bit. And yeah, just that whole theme of
Is that so you can beat Sean in the fight
yeah,
now?
right. being well out of your zone and being that person that knows the least in that.
So what made you do that? Tell us about it.
I think just to, again, be out of the comfort zone, be out of the normal,
Your son went and joined jiu-jitsu and you went,
and then wanted to sort of be able to relate some things with him. And I know Shawnee does it, and I thought, it'd be cool to be getting some training in it as well, and not be the person training the group, not be the person with any responsibility to it other than just to try and soak up as much as I can. And when you know basically naught in that area, everything is growth. Yeah. So for anyone that knows very little about training or very little about nutrition, go to one of these amazing seminars, go to a training session, our free 31-minute training session at the Haven, and just soak up everything that's around that, and it's only growth.
So obviously being at the top of your fields out there, you could have quite easily sat there and let your son do jiu-jitsu, session finished, going home. Did you feel weird joining?
No, I was excited. I was really excited to be thrown right into that, and that's what we really enjoy doing. We worked with Google at the start of last year, and they get a lot of their clients, their staff to set 5 goals for themselves, 3 of them that they think they're probably not going to be able to achieve. And I think that's a really good thing to think of, because if you're setting 3 goals that you don't think you're probably even going to be able to achieve, even if you don't achieve all 3, imagine how much growth you're getting and how far you're going if you're setting. And we've done it plenty of times to ourselves. We set that we're going to paddle 15 kilometres out to sea and a 61 kilometre paddle using our arms laying down on a board. And we weren't sure if we were going to be able to do it, but we set that as something. And we didn't grow up paddling. We just surfed and trained. But then we've ended up becoming great friends with guys that are in the paddle world who have done a lot of the Molokais and really high-level paddlers through doing it. And we've just been swept up and gone along on that journey and learnt plenty. And there's huge challenges and growth with being that far out to sea with only your arms to paddle. So, yeah, we ask people almost every day to step out of their comfort zone and face fears and be pushed into different ways. So we absolutely would never want to ask people to do that if we weren't doing it ourselves. And we'll do it more and harder than, hopefully, we try to push ourselves harder. So we totally understand where people are in that space, but also to get the best out of ourselves and perform at absolute peak that we can, and be the best sort of version of ourselves for the people that we're around, families, kids, colleagues, friends, everyone that's the community.
Well, I've definitely watched you walk your talk, so that's for sure. Yeah, you guys have. How do you guys do corporate, what do you do? Like corporate coaching, corporate groups, normal people groups?
Yep, we do absolutely everything. We customise programs to suit the needs of different businesses. We set challenges we had a challenge at the end of last year for the fittest athletes that we identified on the coast, which was a mystery adventure race, which was really good. We do individual breath, mind, body conditioning sessions with all levels, all ages, all fitness, team building. Yeah.
How do they contact you?
So Teams Challenge Australia on Instagram, Facebook, or www.teamschallengeaustralia.com. We're very much big on personalising it. So if they contact us, we'll ring them, we'll sit down with them, we'll go through a plan to push them into areas that they haven't been into, and and see that growth.
We can definitely vouch for that because we've done it a number of times. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, Matty.